I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Now that we're into February 2018, time for my quarterly market update, this one for winter 2018. So not much has changed from the last quarterly update I did for fall 2017, or summer or spring for that matter, all the way into 2016. The market continues to be, especially for condos and stratified properties, an extremely strong seller's market. And that will be the story moving forward, I think, for the rest of this year. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But for right now, there are a lot more buyers than there are sellers. And this is the way it's been for the last 3 years, and thus we've had the price increases like we've had. Now, the million-dollar question that everyone always asks me, emails me, or asks me on Twitter or YouTube, Owen, what do you think the condo market or the real estate market in Vancouver is going to do for 2018? What are prices going to do? Go up, go down? What do you foresee? As you know, I don't get into predicting what prices are going to do. I haven't for the last 8 years on my blog here, because nobody knows with any type of certainty what prices are going to do. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Vancouver condo prices went up 10 or 15% this year, after about a 20% increase in 2017. It also wouldn't surprise me if condo prices only went up maybe 5% or stayed flat. It wouldn't surprise me at all even if Vancouver condo prices later this year dropped 10%. But what I do see here right now, and I've blogged about this many times, is there is a precursor to what prices will do. And that precursor is inventory levels. Now, I've done plenty of blogs on it, but let me just refresh your memories to how inventory, supply, and demand works. So as a realtor, I am privy to a lot more information than the general public gets. We have a realtor MLS and what we call the hot sheets, which allows me to track inventory numbers instantly on my screen right up to the minute. So when I open my screen as a realtor here, my realtor MLS, I track all the properties in Vancouver and Richmond. I keep a very close eye on, because those are my two main markets. So every day I will see how many listings are listed in both Vancouver and Richmond, detached as well as condos and townhomes. And then I will also see how many units or homes were reported sold in that same day. So as you know, inventory levels have been extremely low here for the past 3 years or so. But on a typical day, on a Monday, I might see for Vancouver and Richmond 130 homes listed. In that same day, I might see 70, 80, 90 homes reported sold that day. On another day, I might see 100 new listings, and I might see 110 solds. So the point I'm making here is, you can see there's not a big gap between the number of new listings every day and the number that are picked off or sold or reported sold in that same day. So inventory levels continue to be very low. The days on market, which I also have access to, are generally a couple of weeks. Most condos now are generally about 7 days on market. The reason for that is because the realtors are doing holdbacks. They're listing it like I do on a Monday, show the property, have open houses on Saturday and Sunday, and then look at offers the following Monday. And so if I wanted to, I could sell homes in 0 or 1 or 2 days on market all day long. But for the most part, most good condos downtown are selling in 6, 7 days, because the realtor is doing holdbacks on them. So what I'm saying is, everything that's getting listed in the condo market and the strata market is getting sold. And for us to see any price relief moving forward, we will have to see those inventory levels go up dramatically. And this isn't something that will happen overnight. What I'll have to see here is, let's say 100 new listings hit and 40 solds. Next day, 140 listings and 35 solds. I will need to see that for at least 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks unabated. And when that happens, you'll see it here first. I'll do a video blog on it, and I will say, folks, I'm seeing the inventory levels creeping up here over the last 5 or 6 weeks. We're only getting 1 sale for every 2 new listings that are hitting on average. And when that happens, when the inventory starts to build, you will get away from the multiple offers and the offers that are going in way over asking, and you will start to see the prices level off first. And then if that continues unabated, where you're getting 2 or 3 listings for every sale, prices will start to come down. So that is a precursor to where prices will go. Now, and again, it doesn't happen overnight. It's probably going to take several months of that inventory slowly building up before you will see anything as far as price relief. So stay posted, I will give you that, but for right now, I don't see any of it. For the downtown Vancouver condo market, for the Richmond market, for Coquitlam, for Langley, for Surrey, everything that gets listed is getting picked off pretty much. So the inventory remains low, and we are not getting any traction right now whatsoever in getting the inventory up. So we'll see where this goes moving forward into the spring. Because what happens too is, you know, starting around early December, mid-December, you see a big drop off in the amount of new listings that come out because nobody wants to list a home over Christmas. I don't. Any clients that call me later in the year that want to sell their home, I'll usually tell them, let's wait until after New Year. Let's wait until the middle of January, late January. Wait till all the realtors are back from vacation, kids are back in school. Then we'll list it and take it from there. So you always see a huge drop off the last 2 or 3 weeks in December, and you don't see much going on in early January either. We're now into February, and I'm seeing, yes, an uptick in listings from what it was in December, of course, due to seasonality. But I am still not seeing any big increases in inventory. And as I say, all the condos that are getting listed are good townhomes, are doing holdbacks and selling usually very close to ask, or in most cases selling over ask. So we'll see where this goes. Next thing up, we've got the mortgage tightening in place now. We'll see where that goes. You know, I blogged about this many times before as well. I read some interesting articles in the Globe and Mail recently, in the Financial Post, talking about how mortgage tightening really is hurting the first-time buyer, and it is. You know, all you have to do is look at what the prices did in 2017. The price of the high-end luxury and detached market was down, or very soft, but in most cases was down 5 or 10%. The condo market was up anywhere from 15 to 25 or even 30%. So who's buying condos? It's young first-time buyers, and the prices have gone completely stratospheric on that market. So it's really hurting the first-time buyer more than anything. The other thing I've talked about many times before is people are holding tight to their homes, which perpetuates this supply problem I just told you about. There are many people that have bought 5, 6, 10 years ago. I've got clients that are sitting on a tremendous amount of equity in their property. They bought a 1-bedroom 8 years ago, and they're up $300,000 on it. They want to move now into a 2-and-den or a townhome, or even a starter detached home. They've got $350,000 of equity in this 1-bedroom. But they are not able to move up market. Because even with putting down a $300,000 deposit or a $400,000 deposit on a $1 million townhome, they still, with this new stress testing, cannot get qualified for it. It's crazy. You know, I've said all along that it was a good idea to be stress testing high ratio mortgages. That's a pretty good idea when you're putting 5, 10, 15% down, low down payments. You should be stress testing those to allow for mortgage increases down the road. But why we're stress testing conventional mortgage, which is 20% or higher, is beyond me. So here you've got people that want to buy a $1 million townhome, want to put down $350,000 cash down payment, and they still can't get qualified for the townhome. So what do? They say, oh, and we're going to sit tight, can't qualify for the mortgage. Maybe we'll renovate our 1-bedroom, or if it's a small detached house they've got, maybe we'll add an addition to it, or put another bathroom downstairs, use some of the equity you've got to update what we've got. So it's really doing the reverse of what the federal government wanted it to do, which was to try and cool the red-hot Vancouver and Toronto housing market. Essentially, all it's doing is penalizing the first-time buyers and the younger buyers that are trying to get their foot in the door with this. It's not allowing people to move up the ladder, and thus it's restricting inventory, even worse than what it is, which causes the prices to continue to rise. So we'll see where that goes as well, but only time will tell. The other thing is we'll also see what the NDP government is going to unveil as far as their new housing strategy, any new taxes, restrictions on foreign buyers. We'll see. Keep in mind though, folks, I've blogged about this many times before too. Anything that they put in place will be a band-aid. It'll be for optics. You can't curb demand. And demand to live in a city like Vancouver, I've talked about it many times. I did a whole chapter of it on my book talking about the entire West Coast from Vancouver down to San Diego, how North America is tilted and people want to live on the West Coast. That is only going to increase. It's why I always tell people, get a piece of Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, while the getting's good. Because I can guarantee the price you pay for that Yaletown condo today is going to be substantially more 15 or 20 years from now. You'll wish you bought two. So that is not going to change. So any measures to try and curb demand will be band-aids. They will be temporary fixes. If they do affect the market, it will be temporary, and I would look at any corrections that happen because of these band-aids as good buying opportunities. So it might happen. Maybe in 2018, some unwielding tax at the NDP or some new restriction that they try and roll out might cause the market to drop 10 or 15%. If it does, make sure, I've done blogs on this before too, make sure you're pre-qualified, you've got your down payment funds ready to go, and maybe you'll get a buying window here. Because it will be a window. It'll be a temporary correction. And then people will find ways to either A, get around it, or they'll get used to this new restriction like they did with the foreign buyers tax, and the market will be off to the races again. So look at any corrections like that as buying opportunities if they do happen in 2018. But again, I'll be able to give you guys plenty of warning here months before we start to see any price relief, because I will see the inventory levels building over several months. That will be the precursor to price relief. I'm Owen Bigland. If you haven't joined my YouTube channel yet, please do. I'll see you next week.